Thank you, guys. On today's episode, we have a couple guests, really special guests here. I'm really excited. We have Hugo Martinez and Marcus from Saltwater Elite Fishing, SAF. Is that how you pronounce it, SAF?
SAF fishing, yeah.
And
Saltwater
also Kayak Losico,
Yes, sir.
locally from
Mission, Texas.
Mission.
Brownsville.
That's great, guys. So I'm really excited. We're gonna be talking about the upcoming tournament. It's saltwater fishing only, or freshwater as well.
Yeah, Saltwater Elite Fishing Tournament it's all saltwater. We're gonna have two locations. We're gonna have the kids' location in Port Isabel, Texas, which is gonna be at the Arturo Galvan Park, right?
Right.
And kids from 10 years and under will be able to participate in that one for $10 entry fee, and it's whatever they catch.
Whatever they catch.
Whatever they catch. The kayaks are going to be in South Padre Island by the convention center.
Okay, so this is a all saltwater tournament.
All saltwater.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and start with a brief introduction about yourself. So can you please introduce yourself? Tell us about your background in fishing. I was reading at I think it was Kayak Losico's website.
Sure.
30 years combined of fishing experience.
Yeah, no, seriously. So Kayak Losico was pretty much a trailer, if you would. It was a kayak trailer that was built by my father. It was made out of all aluminum. That way, the parts wouldn't rust out with the kayak. And my father made me a kayak trailer, and he said, we got to give it a name. Mm-hmm. And, I said, well, the kayak extravaganza. He said, hey, shut up. That's not going to work. In fact, don't even just shut up. Kayak Losico. And when he said that, it kind of hit me in a weird way. It wasn't just a word. It was kind of who we are in the valley. Just shut up and fish. Kayak Losico, right? Kind of taking a swing off the old Telosico and Kayak Losico. So that's kind of where...
That's kind of like a popular phrase here. I do actually enjoy saying that one, but, along with my friends, Telosico and stuff like that, because, it's a local, kind of like a 956 thing, that's popular, common here in the valley. So that's a really original name. So tell us about your origins when it comes to the fishing world. How is it that you guys found fishing? Who introduced you? How many years have you been fishing?
You want me to go first or you go first?
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been fishing, I guess, pretty much my whole life. I got introduced by my father. Art Garcia is my father out of El Dorado Ranch BAITMASTERS, and he started fishing in canals, moving on up from wade fishing, all the way now to him having his own boat by Shallow Master. It's something that he embedded in all of us, through the hard times, through the good times. Fishing was something that, not only provided food to be on the table, but actually got you out of the mindset, through various times in our lives. And it's definitely going to be something I'm going to be passing down to my generations as well. So when we talk about 30 plus years in the making, as far as experience, I got my experience, my brother, my father's, and of course the fathers before him. It's a generational thing.
Yeah, same thing. So I think a lot of us started fishing because primarily probably our dad in the past. I think that fishing back then when we were younger, we didn't have social media, we didn't have phones and all that stuff. So all there was to do outdoor activities. So I think that played a big role in it. So I fished with my dad since I was kids, fishing piers, land-based fishing. But I never really got into fishing like 100% until the pandemic happened. When the pandemic happened, you couldn't do anything. Remember, everything was closed. So the only way you could go out is if you went to fishing, because it was something that wasn't really regulated to an extent. So that's kind of when I started doing the fishing, and I started watching videos when I was bored at home. So I bought a GoPro. I started recording, primarily just because I wanted my parents and my kids and my family to see what I was seeing, because I never experienced that when I was younger. I was always catching catfish, whiting, your regular trash fish. And once I started kayak fishing, that's when it was a whole different ball game. And that's when I said, you know what, let me get a GoPro, let me show my dad and my parents what I'm seeing out there. And that's kind of when I went full force into fishing during that pandemic. And then I started promoting Lure brand, another brand, and little by little, I just decided to do my own thing. But I've got introduced in fishing from when I was a kid, but I didn't really master it until the pandemic. Like I've never used lures before, live shrimp, cut bait, all that stuff. until the pandemic. I started using lures, not knowing anything about it, not knowing where to fish, how to fish it. I just winged it, and then I just, with practice, I got better and better, and that's how that worked.
So both of you started fishing here in in Texas in the valley. So like just mainly like saltwater, freshwater.
All saltwater.
But it was originated here, right?
Correct. Also,
Okay, that's pretty interesting. And like you mentioned, a lot of people started fishing when the pandemic hit because that was the only way of going out. So I do agree with that. And keeping your distance was probably a thing there because you don't want people to be close to you or whatnot.
It sounds dumb, but it was enforced. So when we were out there, cops would pass by, game warden, and hey, you need to separate from each other, or you need to be done by 10. And I'm like, dude, we're literally standing in the water, and you want us 6 feet apart. Like, chill, dude. Like, it's just me and my dad. But it is what it is.
So do you guys have a favorite fishing story or a specific, maybe just like a story about a fishing
I think,
trip or whatnot?
yeah, I mean, I have so many stories and so many different catches that that are crazy. But I think one of the best ones that I have is the latest one, which I believe is the one that's up here right now. That picture of that Jack Crevalle.
Jack Crevalle.
I went offshore, and I've always wanted to go offshore fishing, but for big fish. But I've never had the luck. It's always small red snappers or, whatever kind of bait. But being able to throw a lure at a big school of Jack Crevalles out in the open water, the chances of you spotting a school in miles and miles of open water is already kind of, it's not uncommon, but it's hard to do. And then throwing a lure into it, and then just setting them on the first cast, and then just feeling that drag, and a big 6,500 reel, 65-pound braid. And I mean, I'm really horsing that fish in because we're trying to find the school again. I think that's probably one of my best catches I've had this year, and probably since I started the channel. The only thing is I didn't get to enjoy it much because, again, I was trying to horse them in. If I would have backed off the drag a little bit, kind of play with them a little bit, fight them a little bit longer, it would have been more entertaining. But when you're out there, sometimes your adrenaline just kicks up, and you're just trying to get that next one. So you don't really think. And I was just horsing them in, trying to get to that next one. But that's probably one of the best catches I've had. And if nobody's seen that video yet, or I don't know if you've seen it yet or not.
No, I haven't.
It's actually the one that you had right here, the picture you had right here. But if you watch that video, you can, by listening to it, you can kind of feel the adrenaline that I was going through and the exhaustion. I mean, you can hear me breathing. I mean, I'm breathing through that. Like I'm trying to catch my breath because that fish is strong. They're one of the strongest fish out there. I think it was probably about 3/4 of the size of this table. And I mean, that fish, it doesn't look too big on the GoPro, but in person, it's a big fish. And I mean, they dig. They just keep digging and digging. So that's probably one of the best stories I've had, and the best catches I've had in the past 2-3 years since I started.
That's pretty good, man. I actually caught one of those, but small, like maybe like a 20-incher here at the Laguna Madre here by Arroyo City, where the canals are at. And they fight pretty hard. I mean, pretty hard. It was something comparable to like a bull red, and it was small. It's probably because the type of body they have, and they look kind of like a small tuna.
Yeah. I think
They're really powerful.
I think if it was a 20-inch jack, they're still kind of strong. But I've caught bull reds. They don't fight like that big jack.
Yeah.
No way, dude.
No way.
That big jack. Bull reds have this thing where that initial bite, they run. They zip, right? If you have a light reel, light setup, it'll run forever. But if you have a 6,500 like the one that I was using, the slammer, that one, it has like a 30-pound braking system. I mean, it's hard for a fish to really peel drag on that reel. I've used that reel to catch a 150-pound stingray before.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a strong reel. But that stingray was freak. I mean, that reel was just, it was getting hot. You can see the smoke coming out of it. That's how strong that stingray was. But a bull red and a big old jack, they fight very different. And when you fight them in open water, where they have so much water to run down, they run even stronger. If you catch a bull red like here in the bay, it's only like 2-3 feet of water. They can't really run nowhere. They just run, straight. Over there, they're digging. They're going all the way down, and they're using the current, towards their advantage. And that's when you're just holding on, and that rod feels like it's gonna break, but you just gotta hold on to it. And your hands are shaking from holding the rod so hard when you're using a heavy rod. So they're definitely stronger than a bull red for sure. In my experience, at least.
I have never done like deep water fishing, to be honest with you. It's mainly just wading, or here at the shallows on boat, wading mainly, and freshwater. But never gone that route. I want to kind of like save it for whenever I'm older. I want to do shark fishing, and also that deep water. But I want to kind of like just save it for later. But that sounds pretty interesting, dude.
We're gonna be doing offshore more often this year.
Okay.
So if you ever want to do it, let us know.
Okay. Sounds good.
We have a Captain George has a 20, I think it's like 26 or 27 foot deep sea boat. We can go on that one. That's the one that I went on that video.
That's great. What about yourself, Marcus?
Yeah, man. I think as far as the most memorable catch, like I said, every catch is unique and special on its own. But I think I'm gonna have to take this one back to Port Mansfield. About a month ago, I was involved in a tournament, a local tournament, a 956 kayak tournament, and a good buddy of ours who's also I'm pro staff with Saltwater Elite, and good buddy of ours, Luis, he's also pro staff, and we had a conversation kind of separate from everybody, and the pressure was on that trip. We had Seth there, which one of our sponsors was on site. Another one of our different sponsors was also on site as well. So for me and Luis, behind closed doors, hey man, pressure's on. They're looking at us. And during that time, there was a lot of questions as if, hey man, does that Ceph lure, does that 3-point, does that 3.5 inch lure have any bite to it?
3 inch.
Is that 3 inch, lure gonna reel in the big catch? Does it have any bite to it? Can y'all cast very far? We were getting a lot of questions. I think one of the best ways to answer that is my buddy Luis reeling in a 41 inch bull red on a 3 inch lure, using the same product. That was the same day that here I am catching tournament fish, which ultimately landed me on the board in order for me to get third place out of 43 kayakers and get some prize money.
That's pretty exciting, dude. Were you guys using the typical the red one, or which color were you guys using for that catch?
We were using this color. It's called the Cosmo. It's white with red flake, but in a 3-inch lure, my other lure, and it's a lot smaller than that one, skinnier than this one, and that was a fun one. I actually forgot about that one. If you watch the video, you'll see Louis. He's in a kayak. Not even. It's not like our kayak. It's then it was a more cheaper kayak, right? And it's a lighter kayak. And he was holding on to that rod. It was a light rod with a drag as tight as he can get, and he was just holding on to it like this. And his kayak was just moving like if he had a motor on it. The redfish was just taking him probably like a good 7 miles an hour, just creating wakes in the water. He was just going. He couldn't stop it. We started, like, let's say, for example, here, and he ended up about a quarter mile away that way. And before, when he brought it in. But that was a great catch. It's probably the biggest red I've seen anybody catch on a kayak in Port Mansfield or anywhere really, especially on the white Cosmo, the Ceph lure. So that was interesting. That was a pretty good story. I have that video on there too.
Were you guys fishing near the canals, or was it like the actual like the main canal, or was it just the regular flats?
No, we were in Port Mansfield. We had just passed the intercoastal, east of the East Cut. So we launched out of the south side boat ramp. We went, would you say west? Is that west?
Yeah, so we went east. We went east of the intercoastal.
East, yeah, you're right, east. Yeah. Towards the intercoastal, right before we got to that first island. I'm going to say probably about a good 300 yards away from it. Once we passed that intercoastal and we got into the grassy area, right there on that line is where he hooked that big red. We were hooking up to trout, so we continued. And I told Louis, hey, come throw it over here. They're biting right here. But I didn't know that there was going to be a bull red right there. It was just trout. And then he's on. For a second, I thought it was just a regular red. I was like, nah, small red, whatever. And he's moving. And then I turned back. Within seconds, bro, he's gone. And I was like...
It was certainly a sight to see. I mean, we're talking about a 10-foot kayak that weighs about 40 pounds. And this thing was just, 50 feet away, 100 feet away. Hey, where's this trolling motor coming from? What's the freaking fish, man? And it kind of goes back to the product we were using. For anyone that's been using lures, like myself, I'm brand new to lures too. Before I started my page, I was a bait chunker. I love me mullet. I used to call myself Mr. Mullet. And now here I am using lures. And for those that are just getting into lures, or those that have, I guess are pro level at lures, you have to find your rhythm with your color, with your style. And once you start becoming confident in a product and it starts working for you, well, it's going to be your go-to every time. Yeah. So what's in your bag? Well, I certainly know what's in mine because it's been producing every single time. So I would have to say that trip and using these saltwater elite fishing products, it gets you on the board. It helps you in tournaments. And honestly, quite frankly, it's because of that product and the trust that customers have been instilled in the brand why we're here today.
That's great, guys. So that was a great introduction right there. So let's go ahead and dive deeper into the actual tournament. Let's go ahead and cover the details. So can you walk us through the schedule for that day? What is it going to be looking like? Can you tell us more about what can the participant expect from start to finish?
So I'll start on the kayak one, and then I guess you can finish on the kid one and the rendezvous. So the kayak tournament, we have the kayak tournament and we have the kids tournament all simultaneously. And the kayak tournament, people are going to be meeting us at the convention center at 7 a.m. They have to register beforehand. It's a $30 entry fee, and we're not keeping any of the money. We're literally whatever we get from the kayakers and from the kids, we're giving it back in prize money, or first place, second place, third place. It's our first time that we do this tournament. I've never done a tournament ever. This was kind of his fault that we started this tournament. Now that pressure's on everybody. But we've talked about it before, but Marcus wanted to really push it and getting it done this year. And I kept putting it to the side, because I didn't want to take the extra, pressure of it. I have that what if mentality sometimes, and I need to get rid of it. What if things don't work out? What if something happens? What if there's a storm? Things like that. So I put all that aside and I said, Marcus, screw it. Let's do it. And all it took was a little brainstorming. Me, Marcus, Albert, Louis got together. And Albert is from Filet and Release Outdoors and Louis 956 Fishing from YouTube. We got together. We decided to create a location, a time frame. So it'll be at 7 in the morning at that location near the convention center on the Bayside. Once you pay the $30 entry fee for the kayakers, we're going to give you a wristband. It's a red wristband. It says Seth Fishing Tournament on it. So we know that this person's already paid. And we're also going to inspect the kayaks to ensure that they don't have any bait, cast nets. Nobody's cheating, right? Because it's all lures. And what else? And then once they go fishing, they're going to come back. We have to meet up at, 2 or 1?
I believe it was 3 o'clock, no?
I haven't checked I have the flyer on my phone. But the meetup is around 2 or 3. So that's going to be how it's going to work for the kayak tournament. We're going to be there on site for most of the time. Captain George, one of my sponsors, is going to be out there on his boat, keeping an eye on the kayakers. We want to make it friendly, but we want to also make sure that nobody's cheating. You can't get off the kayak. You can't beach the kayak. You can't wade fish. You have to be on the kayak the entire time. And it's going to be all lures. So Captain George will be kind of driving back and forth, making sure that everybody's following the rules, nobody's cheating and things like that, to ensure that whoever wins won it by winning it correctly and not cheating or something like that. And then Marcus will tell you about the kids tournament. It's a little different.
Yeah. So, and of course, the kayak tournament's going to be behind the South Padre Island Convention Center, of course, on the island. All right, moving forward to the kids tournament. This is going to be at the Arturo Galvan Park in Port Isabel, Texas. So, the way this tournament's going to work is kids from the ages of 3 to 10 years old will have a $10 entry fee. With that entry, you can get your kiddo. Of course, you have to bring your own bait, bring your own rod. Bait is fully allowed. You can use artificial, but it's the kids' catfish tournament, right? So the way it's going to work is the kiddo that gets the biggest string full of catfish is going to end up getting the big prize. We're going to award the top 5 kiddos with some awesome prizes. We've had some extremely amazing sponsors that stepped in on day one. Arturo and Jocelyn Garcia of Mission, Texas. They dropped $200 on the first day. Los Coolers on Facebook, check them out. They donated a kayak to the first place guys.
Really? That's awesome.
The kids tournament's going to be absolutely amazing. The way the rules are going to work is kiddo can have either mom or dad or legal guardian cast it out for them.
Okay.
Once they start getting a bite, kiddo has to reel it in. And then once the fish is here, well, then mom, dad, or legal guardian can help you with getting the catfish off the hook, putting it on the stringer. Heaviest stringer is going to win. In a case of a tiebreaker or anything like that, like I said, all of this is going to be weighed. And of course, pretty soon here, we're going to have an actual form for everyone that signed up either now or that will sign up in the future. They're going to look at the release, hold harmless letter release forms. And of course, along with the rules, that way everyone's on the same page prior to the start date.
Yeah, okay. That sounds great, dude. That second one for the kids, that one sounds really exciting, especially because it's not the biggest one, but, the one with the most fish, and catfish are quite common, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a lot of fun.
I tell Marcus what happens if nobody catches a catfish that day, but he guarantees me that there's catfish there. So we'll find out. And while we're on this topic, before I forget, we do want to give a shout out to a lot of the sponsors so far. We have a few more coming in. I haven't been able to update the flyer yet because I'm still pending on certain things. But we have. Do you have the flyer on your?
I'll try to pull it up here.
Let's pull up the flyer real quick because I want to give a shout out to all the sponsors, including this sponsor today, which is the reason why this whole podcast is being done today, which is amazing for us. My first time, your first time doing a podcast, so I appreciate that.
It's a pleasure, man. I mean, I saw it as a really nice opportunity to bring something to the community. Not just to promote us, but also to to help others, to showcase that there's interesting activities going on around the RGV.
Right.
And I saw it as an opportunity. I decided to invite you guys, and I'm really happy to have you here. So thank you again for both of you investing your time on.
Yeah, and there's so many.
This.
The Valley in South Texas. One of the things that the Valley has or doesn't have is it doesn't have a lot of things to do. You go to Houston, you go to Dallas, you have all these things. I mean, every single weekend you can plan something in Houston or Dallas, whether it's going to the aquarium or the zoo or something. The RGV is very limited on that. I think that the Valley lacks big parks and things for kids to do nowadays. So I think that's why the Valley has such a strong group of fishermen, because there's nothing to do. It's either the nightlife or restaurants and fishing. That's my opinion. And so I feel like fishing has really helped me kind of stay away from the nightlife and putting money into dumb things and things like that and kind of growing a brand out of it. And I think that if we teach kids that it's better to be out there fishing versus being on your phone every day, all day, just eating crappy food and gaining weight and not really socializing with other people around you and, out in the RGV, you're limiting what they can learn in their future, right? And fishing is one of those things that they don't have to necessarily learn it, but it gives them the ability to learn, again, how to communicate with others, how to keep their minds distracted. And, I think nowadays they're so tuned in to social media where they want to be like the next Jake Paul or whoever. And they pick up on trends and a bunch of weird stuff. I have 2 kids of my own, 2 boys. And I noticed that they're not too big into fishing like myself. But their mind is very different than mine was at their age because they were kind of groomed by social media. So I think that this tournament and other tournaments going on with kids allows those kids to go out there and really enjoy life, right? Versus just the phone. But some of the sponsors that we want to give a shout out to, guys, on here, these are some of the ones I have on here. I don't have all of them yet. RGV BAITMASTERS, one of them. Los Coolers, as Marcus mentioned. JMR Anesthesia Services. I think they're out of Mission or McAllen. I'm not too sure. Then we have Munoz Ranch. Shout out. Munoz Ranch is going to give out a charter.
A charter?
Charter. Yeah.
Okay. I think I saw there a hog hunt. So I wanted to ask
Hog
about
hunting.
that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's considered a charter, but it's a hog hunting thingamajig. The Sportman, which is a really big business and really well known.
Yeah, Fred.
I think it's owned by Cynthia. Is that her?
Miss Christie.
Christy. There you go.
Sportsman.
Yeah, Sportman. Yeah, I think it's a new ownership, I believe. But I haven't spoke with her directly. Actually, the reason we got her as a sponsor is because, again, me and the guys got together, and Albert reached out to her. And she follows us on Facebook now. And I've interacted with her in the comments a little bit. She seems like a super smart woman. And anyways, that's a good sponsor to have, the Sportman, because it's a really well-known big business that everybody knows. We have Southernmost Wildlife Products, as you'll see it on my hat here, out of Brownsville, Texas. They donated a fishing rod and reel combo. So we're going to be giving out a fishing rod and reel combo to probably one of the kids from that tournament. We have Art and Jocelyn Garcia, as Mark mentioned.
Okay.
Of course, we have Kayak Losico on here himself. LCD 956 bait and tackle out of FAR. Mark Villarreal is donating fishing rod, I believe, as well. Sunrise Charters, which is RGV BAITMASTERS and Sunrise Charters are the same thing. It's just one's a charter company, one's a bait shop. He's donating the fishing rod from Exotic High Performance Rods. And he's also donating a charter as well. I'm sorry, Sunrise Charters is Captain Noe. I'm confusing the two. One Sunrise, one Sunset Charters. They're both donating charters. And then you have Seth Lures. Obviously, I'm going to be donating, I think it was 40, 50 packs of lures. Naughty Stringers, Fillet and Release Outdoors, Texas Made Lures, and Outlaw Fishing. Texas Made Lures donating lures and outlaw fishing. And we have the Prayer Fishing is going to be donating as well. And then I have Rapid Lube. It's an oil changing place in Brownsville, Texas. It's going to be donating, I think, $250 as well to give out to the kids or whoever wins the event.
That's amazing, guys. So by the time, whenever you can, just send me the updated, list of sponsors, and then I can go ahead and showcase the actual image on the video. So we'll go ahead and include it there on the video as well, so that we can showcase and thank you guys for the sponsors for making this happen. Like you mentioned, it is a great opportunity to involve the kids, and I'm really happy to hear that they're interested. They're interested on participating, supporting the community, because at the end of the day, it's actually gonna really help families come together. Spend time with the families out there, do an outdoor activity. So I think it's a win-win for everybody right there. Now, let me ask you about the reason why you decided to go with the only artificial lures. Is there a reason specific? I know that you mentioned that you recently started, that you transitioned from, bait to lures, and that this is something that you're finding pretty interesting. But is there a reason behind it? Is it because of the difficulty, or what would you say is the main reason for this tournament to be only artificial?
Yeah, there's different reasons. The number one reason why using a lure is much more productive is because you weed out all the garbage fish. So you don't catch catfish, you don't catch pinfish, you get away from all the junk fish most of the time. It's rare that you'll catch a catfish on a lure, but it has happened. But using an artificial lure, it allows you to cover more water for sure, because you're just casting nonstop different bodies of water, and it allows you to catch more trophy fish, keeper fish, whether it's redfish, trout, snook, flounder, in bigger sizes. Okay. When you're using bait, you got to keep in mind that you throw your bait out, and then what do? You wait.
Yeah.
Right. So if there's no fish there, and the fish is over there, but you're waiting over here, you're never going to get to that fish. By the time you reel in your line and the bait fish already took your bait or whatever, and you throw over here, that fish moved already. So lure gives you that ability to find more range, and really target that specific fish you're looking for. And it's also fun. For example, as a fisherman, you look at different colors, right? I know we'll get into this a little bit more in a little bit, but the Ragnarok, for example, and the red and white, I don't know if you guys can see it here, but it's red and white. This one's named Kayak Losico for obvious reasons. Marcus really enjoys this color. So we named it after him. But fishing with lure is not like bait fishing, throwing bait. You have to pay attention to the water clarity. Is it clear water, green water, brown water? And it all has to do with what color you're going to use. The darker the water, the darker the lure. The lighter the water, the lighter the lure. But I really enjoy fishing with lure more than bait because of that big reason that you really get to filter all the noise, all those little fish. And, fooling a fish to hit a plastic bait that you created, it's way more enjoyable. Imagine, you throwing something you just made in the garage and you throw it at a fish and you bring in a big red and you fool that red to thinking that that's a real fish. And then you fight them and you're bringing them in. That's where the adrenaline comes in. When I catch fish on my lures, it's exciting, but it's much more exciting when other people catch fish on my lures. Because I know I can catch fish with any brand, realistically. But when other people like, hey, I caught my biggest redfish on this color. And sometimes it's one of those colors that I would have never even thought. Like, for me personally, I have my own colors that I like, but somebody might find this color more appealing. And they go out there and they catch a freaking monster. And it's like, what? On that color? Even though I made it.
Yeah.
Right? But everybody's different. So lures and jig heads are catered more towards fish to find fishermen. Because fishermen have their own colors, right? And for the most part, fish don't care too much about color other than the fact that is it a light color or a dark color in the right kind of water. But fishermen, they're the ones that, I really like that red. So you're really having to catch fishermen with the colors. And then the fish are the ones that are going to be attracted to whatever color you throw based on the water clarity. But for the most part, the white color's been doing really well. White, for whatever reason, has a real nice silhouette, whether the water's clear or the water's murky. I don't know why. It's like a very neutral color. But, I started throwing lures just because it was more fun. And I also don't like dealing with bait. I don't like dealing with cutting bait, getting my hands dirty, all that stuff. Going home with bait guts all over my pants.
Yeah.
I don't like any of that stuff. So throwing lures is much more cleaner, much more effective, and it's more enjoyable, I think, in my opinion. What do you think, Marcus?
Going back to the whole, why would you even use lures in a tournament? Why don't they just start chunking bait? If you start watching his videos that he's posting online, my videos, Louis, Albert's, anybody on the pro staff team, what we're trying to do is enhance education. So why not start a tournament where you can get out of your comfort zone, stop using that shrimp, stop using that mullet, and take that leap of faith. Start using those lures. Leave with a chance for you to use your favorite lure and try to tag up on something that can get you on the board. And I think that's one part of the educational process that all of us are trying to push, and we've instilled it in the tournament. Getting the kids involved, getting you out of your comfort zone. It's easy for us to say, hey, guys, go on down to your favorite local shop and, buy your lures today. But why would you buy that color? Well, that's where this tournament's going to start showing you, hey, let's say it's a murky day. Maybe you want to start using a darker color. Maybe you're going to find clear waters. Well, we're kind of prepping you with some videos that we're releasing on why you're using these lures and whatnot. So I think it's going to be pretty educational. And it's going to give you a good opportunity to get out of your comfort zone. I was speaking to an individual today at South Padre Island. He's a subscriber to Seth's, subscriber to mine. Roy got to see him in Mission, Texas. He told me directly, look, I want to do Seth's tournament, but I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not the best when it comes to lures. Name somebody who's perfect at it. We all started somewhere, and of course, it's very intimidating. But I think this is going to give everybody in the community a chance to step up, get out of your comfort zone, and welcome unity. Whether you're a bait chunker, a lure thrower, it's going to invite everybody to come out and have a good time.
And like you mentioned, everybody has their style. Like, I haven't seen someone that's casting the same, doing the same, thumbs or whatever, or some people count. Everybody has their own style. So at the end of the day, it's gonna be different for everybody. It's I think it's really fair that you guys are going that route opposed to using bait.
Right, and you have to keep this in mind too. I know that a lot of people watch my content and they say, "Man, that guy really knows how to fish." The reality is, I really don't. I think a lot of times I get lucky, but
that's true.
Sometimes we plan right and it goes right, and sometimes we plan and we go out there, nothing, right? But that's kind of the reason why I made this specific lure. So if you notice, and my followers notice, all of my lures are paddle tail lures. None of them are ballpoint tails, jerk shads. It's all simple paddle tails, and the reason for that is because anybody can work this lure.
Yeah,
A
you can
kid,
just reel it straight and
all
it's just
you
gonna
do
move.
exactly. All you do is slow retrieve, whatever, and that's it. The lure does all the work. These lures, they dance in the water really, really nice. They do all the work. All you got to do is reel it in, so anybody can use it. So for anybody to say, "Well, I'm not good with lures," and you know, I've never had luck with lures, throw a paddle tail and just cover as much water as you can. Get the experience out there. The most important thing about fishing is learning how to read tides, high tide, low tide, winds, where the winds are coming from, things like that. Looking for bait fish, looking for activity, especially in the mornings. So nobody really knows how to use a lure because even the best fishermen can go out wade fishing and get skunked. And I've seen it happen with a lot of guys that are really good. It's just learning how to find the fish. If you're always throwing lures and you're not catching anything, it's probably because you haven't learned how to read where the fish are going. You have to know. You can throw a lure all day, but if there's no fish there, nothing's gonna hit it.
Like it's not really the technique. It's just you're not in the wrong place. I mean, you're in the wrong.
You're in
place.
the wrong place. Yeah, you need to learn how to read the tides.
That's
what
pretty
it is.
interesting as well. Now, let me ask you about. I know that you mentioned location wise, but what about the key rules that participants should be following in order to make this a successful tournament? You mentioned that avoiding cheating and whatnot. I've seen some like crazy horror stories about like people winning trucks and they were cheating and stuff like that.
Oh man.
But I know, I
Yeah.
mean, this is something smaller compared to something of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sort, but I know that you guys are also emphasizing on keeping everything fair.
Right. Everything has to be regulated. Obviously, we have to follow Texas Park wildlife laws and regulations, meaning, we don't want you to bring an undersized fish. That's common sense. Every fisherman needs to know. If you don't know the laws and you have a license, you shouldn't be out on the water. So everything is regulated by the government or by the regulations of the Texas Parks Wildlife, and we expect everybody to, honor it and not bring in illegal fish. Number one, the rest of the details, I'm gonna let Marcus because he's the one that wrote them.
That's good.
And again, this is the only reason why I think I got motivated to doing the tournament because I had Marcus and Albert and Louis. Dude, it was so much, I was still thinking about it in my head, and this guy sending me freaking paragraphs of like all the details.
All the rules.
Yeah, so everything just kind of lined up like this, right? Within hours. And even the name of the lure that I have, same thing. We're in a group chat, and dude, I really want to name the lure a real strong name, a different name. What do we call it? Within 5 minutes, Ragnarok. Done. And then we created the image. But what are the specifics for the kayakers and the kids?
Yeah, so number one, all participants must follow Texas Parks and Wildlife rules and regulations. That's number one. Number two, any and all kayaks will be inspected prior to launch.
Okay.
So, it's not anything personal against anybody. If we start going to your kayak, we start, moving a box around. We're just trying to see if you don't have any, fish bites, mullet, anything in your kayak. So number one, it's going to be all artificial. We will have to inspect. Number three, everybody's going to get a token.
Okay.
If you don't have a token, it's because you didn't sign up, you didn't pay a fee, you didn't fill out a form. There's something happened as to why you don't have a token by that time. So that will be checked on as well. Now, once you're in the water, for any reason, if we see someone on a boat, there's going to be a few people in the boats, by the way. A few that are going to be mentioned, a few that are not going to be mentioned, that are volunteers that have said, hey, we're going to be in the boat. We're actually going to be making sure everything's good. If something gets called out, there's going to be different directors. Obviously, we have the president of the whole thing sitting right in the middle. We're going to have various directors there as well. Somebody says, hey, I did beach my kayak. Hey, no, I didn't. And something gets involved. Hey, well, it'll come down to a picture. It'll come down to a quick committee that's going to happen, on the spot. We're going to have to get together. And of course, the final say will be amongst those committee members.
Okay.
We don't want to have any of those issues. All rules will be gone over prior to the launch time as well. Also, regarding the kayakers as well, weighmaster. You know, in order for us to kind of prohibit the whole, hey, you know what, the weighmaster may not know so and so, and they're related to so and so. Great, we're going to get someone that's not from the 956. Any type of conflict of interest or any kind of what if, we're trying to eliminate that. And of course, if there's anybody on site that has any questions, comments, concerns, maybe wants to bring something to the attention of the directors, hey, as long as you're wearing that Ceph logo, you come and talk to us.
Okay.
You come and talk to us, and we'll address it. The thing is, once you start putting money into a tournament, I mean, things can get legal real quick. And we want to make sure that everyone has a comfortable tournament, a right tournament. And I don't want anybody to walk away from the Saltwater Elite Fishing Tournament with that, man, these judges kind of, you know, they like that guy. This is a bring your A game, and whoever has the A+ game is going to win this tournament. Doesn't matter if you're male, female, red, green, black, blue, yellow, purple. Just bring your A game. The rules are going to be behind you, and we want everybody to have a fun time. But of course, we must adhere to the rules and regulations as followed in this tournament.
As far as scents, are those going to be allowed? There's people that do actually use scent on.
Oh,
on
like the
lures.
garlic?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
for sure.
So that's okay. That's
Yeah,
not against
anything,
regulations.
as long as they're throwing a lure, they can use any spray that they want. I mean, I encourage it because I do promote Mr. Ballyhoo oils. So scents are totally fine. They just can't use anything that is technically bait, like chumming, chumming bait, bait itself, cut bait, live bait, anything that is associated with the actual bait. Scent is, scent. It's not, you can throw scent in the water, you're not going to catch a fish with it. You need to throw a lure with it, right? So it's got to be a lure for sure. I was going to say something. Oh, yeah, and the Weighmasters, what Marcus was talking about, that's another thing, because there was a time that I did a tournament. This was like a year or two ago. I measured my redfish. I was in a tournament. I measured them before I got to the tournament, and it measured at 26.5. And when I got there, he said the gentleman there said my red was at 25.5. And I was like, what? So I was thinking a little bit. I'm like, is my ruler messed up? I don't know. But at the end of the day, I had a bad day regardless, so I didn't even care what the fish measured because I had no chance anyways. I only had one red that day, and all the other guys had like 2 reds, 3 reds, whatever. So we want to make sure that I'm trying to get a captain from Corpus to come down to do the weight masters, because he doesn't know anybody. Okay. I don't even know him. I just heard of him. So I want to try to bring him down. If not, I want to bring somebody neutral who I know is going to be fair to everybody. Okay. Doesn't have any alliances or anything like that with anybody, because, tournaments are crazy, man. And sometimes, like Marcus said, sometimes you leave a tournament or you lose a tournament and you kind of think that something fishy was going on with people in that area or in that tournament. And there's nothing you can do, because if, let's say, for example, Marcus does a tournament, I join the tournament, he's my buddy, and I win every year. That's weird, right? You would think that's weird from an outside perspective. I could probably be doing things the right way, or I could be cheating, who knows? But nobody knows, only me and him, right? So we want to kind of eliminate that factor, and we want neutral parties to be, I don't want to do the Weighmasters. He's not going to do the Weighmaster. We want somebody who doesn't even know anybody. So that way that there's no, oh, he cheated, or he measured my fish wrong, or, he likes that guy more, whatever the case is. We want it to be completely fair. So that's why we're trying to kind of use what we can to make sure that it's completely fair and fun at the same time. But sometimes, even when you want to make things fun, you have to be a little strict. And, it's like a mixture of strict and fun. Because if you're just, we just want to have fun, we just want to have fun, we just want to have fun all the time, where's the regulation? Where's the strictness?
There will be no rules.
Right, there will be no rules. It's like, yeah, I can see where he might have a little bit, but it's okay. We're trying to have fun, bro. And that's where, as a competitor for money, you want to make sure that if Marcus's fish went over that line by a little bit, it doesn't count, right? Because those were the rules. But if a judge says, well, I don't know, dude, it's kind of like hard to tell, but that him and that guy are friends, and you're an outsider, it makes you think some kind of way. Yeah. So we want to completely eliminate that from there.
And I also have to add real quick, one of the number one most, I guess, ask questions about this tournament. Hey, I've got a motorized kayak. Can I use it? The answer is no. There will be no motorized kayaks for the kayak division. The reason why is we want everybody to be on the same playing field, right?
Okay.
If your kayak is registered, it's okay to use a registered kayak, but you got to get that motor off. For example, my kayak, it's a 12-foot Hoodoo Impulse 120. I've got it registered. More oftentimes than not, I'm not using that motor at all. So as long as I'm not using that motor and I'm just, using my standard, then you're good to go. As long as it's not a motorized.
What, just the pedals, those are fine, right?
That's fine.
Oh, okay. Then that's awesome. Now, I wanted to ask about recording. I mean, I've seen some tournaments where it is mandatory. So how is that going for this tournament in specific? Like recording, is that going to be required or no?
What do you mean recording?
Like recording the actual catch.
I don't think anybody's recorded it. I think what they do is they say take a picture of the fish with the ruler. I don't think anybody's done the recording yet. I think that'll be a good idea. The thing is, you can't force everybody to buy a camera, right? And it's really hard to fight a fish and record them at the same time. The last thing we want somebody to do is lose their phone or lose their rod, right? So I don't think anybody records. They do take pictures, but we're not going to go to that extent. It's a same day tournament. It's not 30 days. It's not 2 weeks. So we know that once they launch from the kayak or the kids, we're giving them a bracelet. Once they get this bracelet, we've already inspected their gear.
Their gear, yeah.
So if they come back with a fish, they probably caught it, right? For them to cheat and have it stored somewhere or somebody give them a fish, that'd be really unlikely. But yeah, no, we're not going to do the recording or anything like that.
It's just like anything. If I'm a competitor, I'm coming into this tournament, and I know money's on the line, right? I've really been practicing. I've been going to these spots, and I'm really confident up to that tournament. And I know, hey, man, I've got a shot at winning this tournament. Are you required to have a camera? No. But is it highly encouraged? Just like any tournament, why not? If someone approaches you and says, hey, I think you beached your kayak, he said, she said, well, how am I going to eliminate that? Well, so I have a GoPro, judge, whoever. Can I supply you with my GoPro footage? Can I show you? Well, will it help you? More oftentimes, yes, it might. So is it mandatory? Absolutely not. But is it highly encouraged? Why not?
Yeah. I think that's really well thought, because if you were to enforce that, let's say, rule, then you're going to be maybe limiting people from actually participating.
Yeah, for sure.
But like you mentioned, if they do have it, why not use it? It would be great to see, the actual winner, sharing the video. Let's say, for example, right, like if they're, like you mentioned, if they have a GoPro, it would be nice to be able to see that, or at least be part of the experience, if they already share it.
GoPros, man, they're not cheap, bro. And a lot of these guys that are going in a tournament paying $30 entry fees, they don't, they're not trying to go spend $300, $400 on a GoPro. I think that for a tournament of that magnitude, it would have to consist of winning a boat and a truck, where that it's a freaking $100,000 or more, prize. You're gonna want to invest into a GoPro. But this is why bass fishermen have judges on their boats. Actual, like a real judge on the boat, and he's watching everything, because there's $150,000 on the line. It's not like you're gonna win a couple $100. So if we ever had a tournament like a boat tournament, I don't think we'd ever do something like that. But if we did, you never know, we would probably want a judge on every boat or a camera on every boat to be running 24/7. To make sure that there's no cheating. Every catch is logged on the camera, and it's visible. But then that'll also complicate things, because, you'd have to watch their footage. Yep. Imagine watching like 100 people's footage. Like you're never gonna finish.
We'd never get to the ceremony. We'd never get to the ceremony.
There's no way.
And tag teaming off of the kayaks right now. Going on to the kids. Let's talk about that a little bit. Rules, regulations there. Like I said, we went over that. But one thing I want to stress too, it's because I just set the hook for Mijo and he's reeling it in. Unfortunately, we have to dock that. Remember, you can cast out. You have to give that rod right back to your son or your daughter. They need to reel it in. So if you start setting the hook and you start reeling in, and here you go. Once you think you're there. Remember, there's going to be someone to your right. There's going to be somebody to your left, and that kid wants to win that kayak, and this one wants to win $200 towards, their school supplies, college, whatever they're going to use the $200, whatever the prize money for, right? So again, kid must reel in everything in, right?
Okay.
So just keep that in mind. I definitely wanted to throw that out there.
We're gonna have 2 judges out there, anyways. We're gonna have Albert from Filet and Release Outdoors, and we're gonna have Louis out there watching the kids, and then we're gonna be out watching the kayakers, and then after a certain time frame, then we'll probably leave to the rendezvous, which is it still back Louis' backyard?
Yeah. So the way station area and the ceremony is going to be at Louis' backyard. The way that's going to work is, for all kayakers that are paying their fee, that's also going to allow you with your lunch and all that fun stuff. So, as far as the kiddos, well, how's that going to work? Great. El Dorado Ranch Beefmasters out of McCook or Edinburgh, they donated, about 100 hot dogs, 100 plus hot dogs for all the kids and their families. So while these guys are being fed over here, sometimes the kids want to eat a little earlier, bro. They get fussy. Great. They'll have the hot dogs. They'll have the chips, drinks, fixings for everybody at the Arturo Galvan Park. They finish their side, and then they'll go meet everybody as a whole at Louis' backyard for the the ceremonies,
Yeah, the food for the backyard, Louis' backyard, or what is it called?
Louis' backyard.
Louis' backyard. I always mix it up with Bar Louis. The food is going to be for the kayakers primarily because, number one, they're older. They're paying $30 entry fee, so we want to make sure that they get their money's worth. Also, they're kids, right? They don't need an expensive meal. So I think the hot dogs being donated is going to help us tremendously for them. And that's it. I mean, realistically, when I've gone to tournaments before, when I get there, I don't really eat anyways. I just get a drink. But that's just me. But some people get there hungry, right? And they want to eat. But yeah, so just to clarify, kids will get the hot dogs and the kayakers they'll get their food at Louis' backyard. But they're still going to meet up. Everyone's still going to meet up at Louis' backyard.
That's great, guys. So both of you are really active on the fishing community right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about drama, community drama. I mean, there's a lot of fishing groups here in the RGV in the South Texas region. There's a lot of fishing groups, and there's always that person, or there's always a little drama, happening. So, have you faced any recent drama or challenges within the fishing community?
So I think that I'll start on this one. I don't know if Marcus has, because Marcus is so new to it, right? I told him his day's coming, though. But so when I first started my YouTube channel, I never really encountered any type of drama that I know of. I was pushing another brand, Texas Made Lures. I'll say their brand because I still, I admire Gabriel. That's the owner's name. I admire his work ethic. His wife, super strong woman.
Sorry, what was the name of the lures?
Texas Made Lures.
Oh, okay.
Gabriel, the owner, and his wife, they work hand in hand together. Like they're like a what do you call it? A team couple or
yeah, they're a duo. They're
like the dual dynamic, right? And they help. I've met them time and time, right, out of Corpus Christi, and they work so efficient with each other, and I admire that in their relationship. So the brand Texas Made Lures, I promoted it for like 2 years, always killed it with it, but I used to push their brand, and I never really had issues. I started kind of going into issues when I started my own brand, right? Because now you start your own brand, and now you become a competitor for other brands, right? And the fishing community in South Texas is really small, in the sense where it's big, but it's not really that big when you're really invested in it. I can probably count there's probably like 5 or 6 groups out there in social media in that regard. Whether it's a fishing group or a page or YouTube. There's so many YouTube channels coming up now versus back then. I feel like I started YouTube about 3 years ago, more or less. And ever since then, there's been more and more YouTubers kind of growing. So in a way, I could be wrong, but I feel like I opened that door for a lot of other guys that probably wanted to do it for a long time. They just never did. But now that they see me doing it, they're like, hey, I can do it too. And they do it. And I applaud that. But once you become a competitor, it's like anything in life. You start getting people, talking about you, talking about your brand. They start doing research on you. They start kind of trying to find whatever they can about you to kind of diminish your brand, right? And a lot of the issues that I've had in my personal experience hasn't really been because of me, right? It has to do with other brands that I promoted. For example, Marcus is drinking a Red Bull. I'm drinking a C4. And if I tell, and you come in as my friend and I give you a C4 and Marcus says, no, screw that. Drink a Red Bull. Red Bull's better, right? And, and then you're like, well, the Red Bull's not that bad. Well, yeah, but I don't like Marcus. Screw Marcus, right? So that already, it creates drama. You had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But because both of us, now you have something to do. And now you got to choose, who do I go with, right? And it sucks because it puts me in a position where, in the past where I had to kind of pick and choose. Okay, this guy doesn't like this guy. I got to be careful with that guy because this guy said this about that guy. And then I go over here and then this guy says something about this guy. And it's like a circle. Everyone's just talking about everybody in the fishing community. And I've learned that the fishing community is worse than women. Like, it's bad. It's worse than women. Drama is everywhere. I try to my best, bro. Like, I'm being like anybody that really knows me, I'm real calm. I'm relaxed. I don't bother nobody. I do my own thing. I do my YouTube. I promote sponsors because they're my sponsors. Whether you like them or not, that's the guy that's saying, here's my product. Use it for free, for life, right? So, yeah, I'm going to push it. Whether you like it or not, he's my sponsor. Now, if you have issues with that sponsor, why do you take it out on me for? I have nothing to do with it. I'm just the guy promoting it. But what happens is, let's say I'm promoting Red Bull and you're promoting C4 and nobody's buying your product anymore because I'm pushing this one and I have a bigger a following community and they're seeing that this one's really good, it's not my fault. And I think that's one of the things that I have right now. When I push any brand, it's like before I had to walk on eggshells. It's like, oh, don't use this one because that guy this or that, whatever. And that's primarily why I started my own lures, because there was a time where certain bait shops, I won't name the bait shop in Brownsville, but there's a bait shop that started to kind of talk about me on social media. This guy that I met him like once. I did business with him one time and never did business with him again. From the first day when I met him, I sold him product and I left that day and I told one of my friends, I'm like, dude, I don't want to do business with this guy anymore. No, give him a chance. You don't even know him. I just didn't like his energy. About a month later, the guy started talking about me on social media, right? And whenever you have a guy like that or anybody, right, that talks about you, he's got a circle of friends. And then those guys start talking about you and it creates a whole drama show. So then what happens then? You have sponsors hitting you up. Hey, be careful with this. Don't say that. Don't post this. And I don't like to be told what to do. Like, I don't like anyone to tell me what to do. This is why I work for myself, because before I started my own company, I had 11 jobs. I got fired from every one of them. I couldn't even quit on time. They always beat me to it. But my mom said, if you can't learn to listen to people, you need to start your own company. And when I became 19 years old, I started in sales. 24 years old, I opened my own company, and I've had my own company since then. So I have that business mindset where if I see an opportunity, I take it. So when I started being told what I can and what I can't say from sponsors, I said, you know what? In order to avoid that, I'm going to start my own lure brand, my own jig head brand, and nobody can tell me shit, right? So if somebody's going to tell me or someone's going to dislike me or says anything about me, I have my own brand, so I don't have to listen to anybody.
And that makes sense. That makes total sense, dude.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what it was. I mean, it wasn't really anything I did to anybody. There is drama, though. There's always drama. There's drama in everything, though. There's drama in freaking everything, I think. if I post a picture of a redfish on Facebook, somebody will laugh at it and say, "Oh, it's too small," and it could be a 30-inch red. It don't matter. But I don't know if Marcus, you've had a little bit, right?
Yeah. So, and I think you explained that was a really good explanation. But I will say this: if you believe half of the information that gets told to you about a certain lure, you'll never know how that lure works unless you use it, right? Where am I going with this? When I started kayak Los Seco, understand I was on a kayak for quite a bit till I got, really associated with kayaking. I was really comfortable. I made sure that safety was number one, and I really got into the groove of it. When I started becoming serious, I had an inner group of friends, and they kind of warned me, hey, man, so I know you've been seeing a lot of videos. I know one of your mentors, well, he's X, Y, Z, yada, 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 yada. It went in one ear, and it stayed there, but the person that we're talking about, I actually got to meet that guy. He's a local YouTuber. And we went fishing for the first time, and all the knowledge, in my head, I've got it going on. I know what's up. Of course, I'm throwing mullet, and this guy has lures on him. So I'm like, oh crap, maybe I'm not the the end all be all here. And I learned so much from that one fishing trip than what people get from 50 YouTube videos. To the point where I found out his name, introduced myself to him. He's a local YouTuber. His name is Hugo Martinez. He's stuff fishing. He's sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
And I was always warned, hey, you know what? Before you start your page, before you get associated, be careful because X, Y, Z. Oh, hey, I see that you're sponsored by Seth. Hey, I just want to let you know X, Y, Z. Hey, I see that you're pro staff now for Seth. I just want to let you know, this buddy might not associate with you anymore because of X, Y, Z. There's only one word I could really say to them. Kayak Los Seco. I've shaken the hands of a man who has been through hell and back, with things online. And I get that it's a very rigorous and very competitive market. But I always say this: the people that I surround myself by have been done nothing but just help me promote myself, build myself, giving me information that I never thought was possible. And we help each other grow. I'm sponsored by Saltwater Elite Fishing. I'm sponsored by Texas Made Lures that we talked about earlier. Coast to Coast, SCA Custom Top Waters. Everybody in that field has been doing nothing but helping me grow. And for those that say, hey, you know what, be wary of this person, well, let me be the first person to say it publicly on a podcast like this. If I would have listened to every single person out there that said be careful of the SEF brand, I would have done nothing but, one, been misinformed, and two, I would have shot myself in the foot. Because had it not been for those fishings, those talks, those sessions, and quite frankly, the lures, man, I'd be throwing mullet and getting a lot of catfish. And I would not have, gotten third place in no tournament in an all lure tournament. I'm the new kid on the block. My name is Marcus Garcia. I am with Kayak Los Seco. And make no mistake, what's going on in the fishing community right now, it's a little frustrating. It's a little saddening. But as long as you kind of keep your circle strong and you take everything with a grain of salt and you take it upon yourself to hear that person's story, shake somebody's hand and see what they're actually made of, I think that's going to kind of weed you out from the drama and to the actual integrity of a person.
Yeah, dude. And real quick, shout out to Marcus. As he mentioned, he's been a bait chunker his whole life, right? He got into this tournament not too long ago. It was an all-lure tournament, and everybody knows his background, bait chunker. They've even called me the bait chunker before. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? There were lures in all my videos. But I was like, whatever. I promote a product, Ballyhoo Bites from Mr. George, and from Mr. Ballyhoo. And when I promote his brand, I use bait because that's the brand, right? Yeah. It's Ballyhoo Bites. And so I started promoting his brand for a good minute when he first took off. So I had to really push it down, the content with it. And I got the name Bait Chunker. Well, that guy's just a bait chunker. Okay, whatever. But Marcus got third place against, how many people were like 40, 50 people?
43.
43 other kayakers, experienced kayakers that throw lure year round. And he got third place, throwing a lure for the first time, his first tournament. And every time we were fishing and he was fishing for his tournament, we were away from each other. For the same reason, I also wanted to avoid issues, and I wanted him to avoid, it's because he's with that guy in the background, and look, and whatever. dude, you go over there, I'm gonna go over here. You record your stuff and your fishes and your catches, whatever. So he did his own thing, and the only thing that I think we did together was I would just help him in the sense where, okay, we're gonna go over here, or he would say, let's go over here. There was times where I would say, hey, Marcus, the fish are over here. He's like, nah, dude, I'm getting bites. There's a video on that. I'm getting bites over here. So I didn't listen to him. I'm like, he's dumb. I'm gonna go over here. And he ended up catching his limit of reds and I don't know how many trout. And I think I caught a couple of trouts, a couple of reds, but I didn't catch my limit. So it has nothing to do with how experienced you think you are. A lot of times it's just listening to your gut. That day he listened to his gut in Port Mansfield. He got his fish. I did get fish too, but I didn't get my limit like he did. And I'm more experienced than he is with lures, if you want to go that route. But sometimes it's not about the experience. It's just you have to have that gut feeling. And sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you find that one spot, that honey hole, and you just work it. You were anchored for a little bit too, right?
Yeah, man. It was an interesting day. You know, when I got the call saying, hey, I think we should move that way. It's hard. It's hard to tell someone who's this experienced no. It's like telling your boss, yeah, no. Imagine that feeling. And I had to stick to my gut. Luckily, it paid off. And, you know, tag teaming on everything we just said, too, it's quite intimidating to try to go that extra step and say, hey, I'm going to start the page, and I want to spread knowledge that I've gained because this shouldn't be a secret. Everybody needs to know about what I just learned.
And we don't have any, sorry to cut you
No,
off.
you're good.
The way I am, if you get to meet me in person, I'm actually, like I said, I'm real chill. I met a guy today too who was starstruck. I mean, this guy hopefully he's not watching right now, but he was like fangirling, right? And it happens sometimes, which is cool. It's whatever. I get it. Sometimes you see a guy on TV all the time. You see him in person, and it's crazy. But I'm just a normal guy like everybody else, dude. I'm super humble. I meet people all the time. I give people my address. Sometimes they show up to the house. But when Marcus became pro staff too, and you know, I also told him, I don't want you to feel like you only have to use Seth Fishing brand. You can use Texas Made, Coast to Coast, whatever brands you want to use them. When I used Texas Made lures, when I was sponsored by them, I only used their brand. It wasn't because they told me to. It was just because I had this ideology that, okay, this is my sponsor, this is the brand, that's it, nobody else. But every now and then I had that mental thought, like, man, this guy's catching fish and he's using this other kind of lure and this other color. I wish I could use it, but I can't because I'm shooting content and I need to stick with my sponsor. So then I'm hitting up my sponsor, like, hey, can you make me this color? Can you make me that color? And I have to wait to get it, right? So doing my own lures gave me the ability to, if Marcus says, hey, dude, you know what? I killed it with this color and I don't have it, I'll make it right there and then. You know, it gives you that ability to have the ability to just make whatever you want right there in time and use it. But yeah, I have no beef with nobody that I know personally. People that dislike me on social media or have talked about me on social media, they don't know me. They don't know anything about me. They just know that their buddy doesn't like me, so they don't like me. Things like that. But yeah, no, we try to keep it cordial. You know, I don't hold grudges for anybody that's ever talked about me in the past. You can reach out. I'll talk to you like normal. And, you know, we can squash the beef, whatever that beef is, and we can be friends. There's plenty of fish for everybody. The fishing community is big enough for that everybody can participate in it. So if anybody wants to reach out and say, hey, you know what, my bad, bro, let's squash the beef, I'm down, bro. I don't hold beef. I'm not a little kid anymore. You know what I mean?
That's great, dude. And congrats on that third place right there.
Thank you, man.
I have never participated on a saltwater tournament. I have done a couple of freshwater. I used to like going for gar.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I did pretty good. I think I won a first place and a third place.
Dude.
Yeah, just with rod and reel. I mean, I've never done like a bow or nothing of that nature, just rod and reel. And but I do like both, like saltwater, but I've never been part of a tournament. So
I'm going to tell Mark Gattiato from LCD, you're going to give him a run for his money.
Dude. Yeah, no, I know him personally. He's a good friend of mine as well.
Yeah, Mark's a good guy.
Yeah, so yeah, we're friends. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to have him here pretty soon. We're going to also, talk about his brand, what he's been doing with his, store promoting. experiences, fishing, stories and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was everything was great, dudes, guys, and I wanted to ask you about the products right here. I mean, I see that you have you mentioned that these are new products that you have, or are you?
I'm
When
so
are you gonna
excited,
launch
bro.
them?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah. So I think this is what everybody was waiting for, and anybody who's live right now. I know this is going to be post edit, but anybody who's live right now, is probably like, "Shut up, dudes! Show me the lures, right?" So it's gonna be. I don't know. It's gonna be hard for you guys to see it on the phone from over there, but should we bring the phone this way? Or
Yeah.
bring the phone this way. We're gonna show you guys the Ragnarok, guys. This is the new, and then I'll go back to the camera over here. Here in a little bit, we'll move the phone back and we'll just kind of reset it. Move it a little more towards you too, I guess. Right. Well, yeah, I guess whatever.
Yeah, it's right there for your audience. You're fine, dude.
Yeah. So for the guys that are on here, I know that people come in and out on the live feed. So if you're seeing this while you're on the live feed, you're gonna see it for the first time, and then afterwards we're gonna delete the live feed, so you're not gonna be able to see it. I'll let Marcus show. He already has it in his hand. He can't wait.
I can't wait.
He's gonna
almost
show.
broke the table.
He's gonna show the new Ragnarok kayak Los Seco color. Somebody says that they just ordered product. You haven't ordered this one yet, but we're about to show it to you. So take it out of the bag real quick, Marcus. So let's show them the details on it, because it's a little hard to see for the camera. And we're gonna post pictures on Facebook later on tonight.
Real quick. 3.7.
This was 3.75.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the 3.75 Ragnarok lure by Saltwater Elite Fishing, featuring a red body, white paddle tail, called the Kayak Lasico, guys. This is called the Ragnarok, guys. This is one of the many lines of Ragnarok. It's going to be a lot bigger than your traditional lure. So for you guys that have been saying the last few weeks, man, these Ceph lures are just a little smaller. I want something a little more bulk. Your questions have been answered, guys.
Yeah, so we're gonna show you. I know it looks kind of plain from here. It's got a lot of detail in it, actually. This is the watermelon color right here, 3.75 inches, and it's got a couple of notches in the belly. It's got a different notch here in the back of the belly, and it's got two of them towards the tail. And then the way the tail was designed for this one and the body was primarily because I wanted to make sure that when you threw this lure, it was going to be heavy enough to cast out far in high winds, use on a weedless setup, use on a quarter jig, and for it to, when this lure's in the water, guys, most paddle tail lures, they just do that, right? They just kind of just move like this. But with this one, the way the tail is designed, the body moves kind of like this. It's really weird. That was actually done by accident. So, but it worked out. So the lure, which is the Ragnarok, was actually helped. The gentleman who helped me design it is the same guy that designs Z-Man lures, which is a very popular brand. But I'll show you guys this in a little bit on Facebook.
Yeah, Hugo, but how do you know it works? Well, guys, everybody on the pro staff has caught reds already off the demo period.
Yeah,
Honored to say that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different color schemes that we're gonna go with. We don't know yet. We have this one here, which is the what did I call it? Midnight Express. It's like a black with blue on it. And again, I'll show you guys images later. It's gonna be really hard for the camera to focus on the live feed. That one's a pink with silver flake in the belly, and that's the Ragnarok. Then we have the Cosmo 2.0, which is this one right here.
I'm calling it right now, guys. This is going to be the #1 bestseller.
Yeah, it's already the #1 seller in the regular lure, so definitely I've made a lot of this one. It'll be available on my website tomorrow. So let's go. Let's move the phone back and go back to the...
Yeah, and we'll make sure that we drop the links for your socials, for your websites.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the size on these?
3.75 inches on this lure here.
Would you recommend a specific jig head, like a
Yes.
weight or size? Or?
So I make my own jig heads. They're called Seth jigs. Obviously, they can use whatever jig head they want. The reason why I went with a lot of meat, if you notice, it's got a lot of meat on the belly here, is because I wanted to make sure that if somebody wanted to use a weedless, they can screw in the screw lock in here, and then they can run it down through the belly. And with the way it's designed right here, that hook should curve about right here, and it should just pop out right here. So they can use it on a quarter jig, 1/8 jig. I was throwing it on a 1/2 ounce jig when I went offshore because I was trying to catch something big with it. It's definitely big enough to catch a big fish. Offshore, you just got to find it. Like when we found those jacks, I was going to throw a Ragnarok, but I didn't have one tied, and I didn't have enough time to tie one. So I threw like a 5-inch big lure, and I got it right on the hook. But yeah, definitely use depending on what do you call it? The size of the jig really depends on where you're fishing. Okay. You know, if you're fishing deep water, if you want the lure to stay subsurface, if there's a lot of current, all that factors in how heavy you're going to go. But for the most part, I always use quarter. That's my go-to, quarter jigs.
That's great, guys. Would you pair that with the fluorocarbon, or what do you use for the leader? What are you mainly using? Something clear, or you just simply attach it to the main line?
So what I'm doing is I'm never going to change my tactics. It's going to be a 15-pound braided line to a 30-pound mono line. Which for lures, I get it. You want to move to a 20. I think you use a 20-pound on the mono, right?
20 to 25, yeah.
I like that 30 action, bro. I want to know he's coming in the boat.
So you use mono then for leader?
I use fluorocarbon. He uses mono. It varies based on structure. So fluorocarbon leader is less visible. It's more translucent. I use the pink invisible, so once it goes in the water, you can't see it. Even you can't see it. Mono, fish can sometimes see it when they're finicky, but mono is more
stretchable.
Well, not so much stretchable, but it handles abrasion better with structure. So if there's pilings or whatever, it's less likely that the mono would pop versus fluoro. Fluoro is strong, but it cuts really fast. So if it hits a piling, boom, it's cut. It's just gonna pop. So if I'm fishing for trout, I like to use like a 15 to 20 pound fluorocarbon. If I'm fishing for reds, 20 to 25. The only time I use 30-pound mono is when I'm using cut bait. But Marcus's go-to is always 30-pound mono.
Always, man. Always, always. And it's not going to change, bro. It will not change.
Yeah. I never recommend anybody to tie braid straight to the jig head. Big no-no. Different reasons. Fish primarily have scales, right? Obviously. Those scales will cut that braid like this real quick. There's no stretch, like you mentioned earlier. And if that fish hits any kind of structure, whether it's an oyster or something in the bottom, it's going to cut you off really fast. Braid is very fragile. It's strong, but it's very fragile when it meets something, a structure. It could be a round structure. It'll still cause a line burn, and it'll just thin out and pop, So always recommend mono or fluorocarbon leaders for whenever you're using lures, even bait. You never want to tie straight braid to a jig head.
Yeah, those are great tips, guys. Now, just moving forward with a few uncommon, perhaps abnormal questions. With any historical figures or superheroes or any fictional characters, who would you invite to your team and why?
Well, wait. So
I love this question.
What was it?
This is an amazing, well thought out question by the moderator, dude. I love it.
What was it? If we can invite any comic character?
No. So, in other words, if you can invite a historical character, you can invite pretty much anybody you want. But
anybody, whether it's a fictional or someone from the past, anybody that you can invite. A dream team, fishing team.
To your fishing team or to just fish one time?
Either or. I mean, you can elaborate on the answer there.
Let me elaborate on the question, bro. Let me elaborate on the question. All right, let me C4 it up for him a little bit. Okay, so here we go.
All right.
Hugo, you're stepping into a boat ramp. There's 10,000 people looking at you. You step up to the stage. My name is Hugo Martinez. It's going crazy. Fireworks are going. And my starting lineup is... Who's on your starting lineup?
Dude, I can't think of anybody but my dad. Like I can't think of anybody but my dad. I try to think back, and then I think of Muhammad Ali. Think of but these are like not give it with fishing, right? But I try to think of who I would have like you mentioned, my starting lineup, and I have to stick with my dad. That's who I'd go with.
Dude, that's an awesome answer. I think same thing here. Obviously, my dad. Those are the obvious. No, I'm gonna make this harder for you, bro. We're both gonna say our dad. So you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and start off by saying number one, Holly Chiarello. I do not know how to pronounce her last name. Holly Chiarello, and her husband Matt Chiarello. These guys are pro staff with Hoodoo, and along with that team, also Christine Fisher. Who are these people?
Christine Fisher's a good.
Why would I even invite them to my team? Holly and her husband, dynamic duo with Hoodoo, Hoodoo Sports. It's a brand of kayaks that I use. These two have been rocking and rolling in the Hoodoo field, and they know their stuff, man. When it comes to reds, when it comes to trout, when it comes to finding the water changes, the lures, and how to position your kayak, I want someone on my team that knows how I'm supposed to position my kayak. What am I supposed to do if I bust a line? How am I supposed to get back to the dock if I'm in a position? That's why I invite the Chiarellos to help me out. Christine Fisher, an all-star in
the bass.
In the bass field.
Yeah.
Knows how to do it in the fresh water. I lack freshwater experience. So on my team, I need someone to have that go-to experience. Christine Fisher is going to be that fisher out there. I'm going to be biased. One of my sponsors, Saltwater Elite Fishing. I've got to have the guy who's done it for years. So I automatically, those are the first four I would automatically put on my team.
I think that if you were going that route, then yeah, I can definitely pick some people. The Gale twins, you've seen those?
Yep.
Offshore twins?
Yep.
Those twins is two women, and my dad freaking watches their content like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But those women are really smart. It doesn't hurt to have beautiful ladies around you, right? But the Gale twins for sure. Black Tip H is another one, right? That'd be a crazy one to have. But these are offshore fishermen, so I don't know, man. But it would be cool to go with them fishing. I would love to go fishing with either or. There's so many big YouTube platforms out there in that I wish I could go with them, but I mean, I'm not gonna reach out and be like, hey, bro, let's go fishing, because they're gonna look at me like little small guy, But you never know.
So how about non-fishers, non-fishing people to add to your team? I gotta know.
Non-fishing people. What do you mean?
Yeah, so like someone that has like just a random like a celebrity. Let's go.
Yeah,
celebrity.
like you mentioned Muhammad
Oh,
Ali.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox. And if MGK wants to smoke, he can get it too.
Let's go. Let's go.
And that was a pretty interesting question there. Now, let's just imagine fishing technology 100 years from now. What futuristic fishing gear or methods do you foresee? Like, what do you think we're gonna be using in 100 years from now when it comes to fishing?
Wow, 100 years from now.
Yeah.
That's a lot of years.
Another great question, man. Honestly, well, I think the best way we can answer that is by looking at not the problems, but the joys and discomforts that we obtain by using the lures that we use. Mm-hmm. So what is one of the biggest discomforts we have? Well, some lures shrivel up. You can't use them again. Some lures, the tails tip, a trout attacks that tail, and there it goes. You got to switch it out all over again. So how do we make a lure last longer? How do we make that shelf life just expand? How do we make these sprays last longer in the water and so you don't have to keep on spraying them over and over again? So these are things that I would start thinking of. So I think about 100 years from now, we can start seeing sprays that are either more concentrated or one that maybe you don't have to keep on spraying your lure. Maybe we're going to start seeing lures and the plastic we're using, the plastisol, I guess I'm not going to say more durable, but more flexible to the conditions and the rigorous conditions that we're going through. Maybe we're going to start seeing monoline. Maybe we're going to start seeing braided line endure the oysters that we fish here in the Rio Grande Valley. So those are the things that I could foresee in 100 years.
You really think that? I don't know if braid will ever change. I don't know if lures will change as far as the plastic changing. I mean, being a person that makes, I don't know, this is just 100 years from now. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong. But in lures, there's only so many things you can do to harden the lure, right? You can put hardener in it, make it harder. But then if you go too hard, you lose action, right? So it's like a give and take. You don't want it too soft. You don't want it too hard. You want it right in the middle. If it rips, but it's part of the game. But if you go too hard, you lose the action. Like I said, I think that, for sure, I think that a lot of kayakers will still be kayaking. Mm-hmm. I think kayaks will change completely. I think that they're all going to have powered motors.
Probably even flying on drones or something. Like imagine having just instead of a kayak, a thing that you can just
Like a hoverboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
go.
I think that a lot of the kayakers will resort to electric motors like the Tesla. You know how Tesla's already building outboard engines and things like that. Have you seen those?
Let's go. Okay.
Tesla has those little nine horsepower motors already.
All right.
And they're expensive, but they're supposedly really strong. There's so many companies doing these kind of electric motors nowadays. So definitely that will be an upgrade. I think that a lot of kayakers will kayaks will eventually have a wider body with powered motors instead of pedal drives. And I think that the life of them will last longer as far as the battery life. Reels, I think that reels are really hard, man, because reels have been reels for years and years. They haven't really changed. They change in the physical aspect, like for example, gold and the details and the brake systems. They use carbon drag systems and things like that, but they haven't changed since my dad's been fishing. It's pen is still pen. It's just you look at an old pen reel versus a new pen reel. The new pen reel is more flashy. Obviously, the brake system's way different. It's more upgraded. The carbon, the bearings are stainless steel now, and most of them they're sealed versus back then. But I don't 100 years from now, I don't know, dude. That's
We have an excellent moderator, clearly. And this is really, really good questions, man.
I think I don't know, dude. I don't see it. Fuck, I don't know.
Do you think
It's
maybe
hard.
they're gonna be including the use of maybe like thermal drones to find schools of fish?
No, I
Maybe.
don't. I don't think the laws, the Tex Park Wildlife would ever allow that. So me and Marcus have an interesting story. We ran into. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about them.
I think we're on a CIA blacklist.
Yeah, we're probably on a CIA blacklist.
Like,
But
seriously.
we went to the boat ramp one day where we always launch from, and there was this big drone, probably about as big as your table.
Let me set the mood. It's midnight. It's
Yeah.
pitch black.
Yeah.
Nobody's there. It's me and him, and that's it. We got no backup.
There's a black Mercedes van, one of those expensive vans. Some other cars, guys dressed in black, and they're just chilling there. They have a drone in the floor, and we're just looking at it like, is that a drone? Huge. And it's about as big as this table, more or less, and it's a hybrid of electricity and gas, from what the guy said. So they start flying it. They're flying it all over the place, and they're flying forever, dude. Then me and Marcus decided to go talk to him. So we're like, hey, can we check it out? So we started talking about the drone. The camera itself, the camera by itself and the drone, he said it cost more than my truck. My truck's $36,000. So I was like, holy crap. So he's like, yeah, dude, that costs more than your truck. And I was like, dang, okay. The drone's in the six figures, right?
Yeah.
The whole
He said
system.
it was a 6-figure drone being tested right now for a 3-letter agency, and that's what he left it at.
That's where he left it at. And it had infrared. It was pitch black, dude. But if he showed his images on his phone, it's clear as day, like if it was daylight in the image. He showed us he was bragging a little bit. He showed us rifles and
So he's showing us all this high-tech equipment and all the kinds of weapons they have. I'm the type of guy where I realize in my head, we got to get out of the situation. So what bothers me is I'm in the position of, hey, it's cool, let's get out of here. And then I hear the words, oh, because I have a drone. Oh, my God, Hugo, shut up. Shut up.
yeah, it was fascinating, right? Because I fly drones too. So when you see a drone that big, in everything it's got on it, dude, it flies for 4 hours. This drone, that's a long time. My drone is a regular DJI Pro, 30 minutes maybe, right? So when you hear a 4-hour battery life on a drone, that's crazy. But forget the battery life. I mean, I'm talking the sonar that this thing had, the infrared. I don't remember what they used it for.
But how far out? Do you remember how far out this freaking thing went?
He was gone for like a good 30, 45 minutes, but he was out. I mean, because you can hear it. It was loud. It was like, zzz. It's on like a weed eater motor. And it left for a good minute because we were there for a while. And then the talking, and then they came back.
And the worst part about it is, I'm like, oh, okay, so it's Customs and Border Protection. It's Border Patrol. He goes, yeah, unfortunately not. And the guy had a demeanor where anytime he said something, he said it in a way that like kind of translated to shut up.
But it was cool though, because these guys though, as weird as it was, they had this demeanor.
Yeah.
where you knew that they could kill you right there and nobody would know, and they can get away with it, like because the government would put it under the rug. Like they were like a covert ops type of government agency. Again, they didn't have any logos on the trucks, no badges, no nothing. It was just I mean, the pictures that they showed us, they were wearing like Navy SEAL.
I've never been intimidated by a beard until that day.
Yeah,
The beard game, bro. The beard game they wore like, dude, it was like a halfway house between like we're gonna go to combat, but we're also chilling.
Right.
Weird.
Like if you mess with those guys, guns real quick,
Done.
like you were done. Like there were those kind of guys. And I remember we left that day. We went fishing that day, and we were like, "What did we just witness, bro?" I feel like we're gonna go to jail. Or something.
Dude. We didn't talk about it. I was too scared.
Yeah, that was a crazy story about that drone. I don't know how this topic came up, but
Yeah, that's really crazy. Well, that was talking about technology and
that's
drones
right,
and
that's
all
right.
that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I mean, so far it's been a great time, great episode today. So let me ask you anything that you would like to add to wrap it up. Anything that you want to say to sponsors or whoever's interested on the tournament. Any last words?
You know, for anybody that's wanting to come and help us out with the Saltwater Elite Fishing Tournament, like sponsors, you know, how can I go about sponsoring? Are there different levels of sponsoring? Yeah, there's a gold level, platinum, etc. The highest sponsor is going to be $200 or more, and that's going to get your logo on a banner that we're going to have for this tournament. And I highly encourage you to add our page on Facebook, the first annual Saltwater Elite Fishing page on Facebook, or reach out to Google directly at Seth Fishing YouTuber on Facebook, Kayak Los Seco LLC on Facebook, Louis 956 or Filet and Release Outdoors. We're more than happy to help you out regarding the rules and regulations on the tournament. We're happy to help you out with the sponsorships. And honestly, guys, we can't do this without the support and the love of viewers just like you. So we definitely want you to reach out to us. We want to make this the biggest and best tournament in the 956. And of course, if there's anything that happens along the way, we're an open book, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah, and like Marcus said, we're still looking for people, guys. By the time this video airs, sometime next week, I know that I have 2 sponsors that I haven't put on the list yet, but we're still looking for active sponsors that want to help kind of give back to the community, whether it's the kids, whether it's the kayak the area, or maybe you don't want to donate money. Maybe you want to donate like, was it Les Coolers that donated the kayak?
The kayak, yeah.
They donated a kayak. Maybe you want to donate a kayak. Maybe you want to donate a fishing rod or whatever the case is. Everything is going straight back into the event of all the participants. Again, we're not keeping anything. We're not making any money from it. We're solely doing this just to be able to give back to the community in some way, shape, or form, whether it's hosting the tournament, showing people the lures, how to use lures and things like that, the kids getting out there and all that good stuff. And I want to give a big shout out to a lot of the sponsors that I have on my platform for a long time now. And I'm going to throw in Texas Made Lures in there because they were my #1 sponsor from day one. Then I have RGV Baitmasters, Sunrise Charters is another one with Captain Noe, Sunset Charters with Captain George. We have Exotic High Performance Rods, LCD 956 Performance Rods, Sawgrass Performance Rods, Mr. Ballyheel Oils, SWP, Southernmost Wildlife Products out in Brownsville. Who else do I got? Man, I forget all these sponsors. All Naughty Stringers for sure is another one. And I am pro staff with LCD 956 in case anybody was wondering. So I do get to get the awesome cool rods from Mark at a discounted price. So don't hate me for that. And what else? I think that's pretty much about it. But make sure you guys go to my website at setfishing.shop. Check out the Ragnarok lures. I'm going to have way better images on there so you guys can check them out. And follow me on Facebook, follow me on YouTube, all that good stuff. And make sure that you check out my buddy's page here too, who's also a sponsor here as well. It's you're gonna. I know you said you're starting, but you're kind of trying to get content. But how soon, if somebody else wants to do this, or even us, even if we want to do this again for a different product, or when do you think you can start also opening to the public?
I'm actually open already. I have a few clients coming up for this week. I have produced around 4 podcasts. Within the last month, I went on vacation for a couple of weeks, so I was out. But I did produce 4 podcasts. I have 5 or 6 episodes lined up. I'm gonna be inviting business owners locally, trying to promote their brands, invite people who have great stories to share, motivational, you know, things that are gonna bring value to the community, not just entertainment wise, but I'm trying to give back. So if anything, I may reach out to businesses and just invite them, and hopefully they do come and they do share their stories. They tell us where they started. They can encourage others to do what they do. They can promote their services. So this space is mainly created for that purpose. To promote businesses, whether small or medium business. I would like to help you guys out. I'm doing this out of my home right now. It's not a commercial place yet, but I do have plans of expanding.
Yeah, you guys got to see the setup though.
Yeah, he's downplaying this by
yeah,
100%.
He's downplaying a little bit. This guy's got. If you didn't know it was in the garage, you'd think you were like in some big ass business building. But there's wires galore, like everywhere. He's got cameras all over the place. I don't know how many you have, but there's one on top of me hanging up there. A freaking 360 cams, one over there. And there's cameras, there's computers, there's screens, there's lights, there's mics, everything. It's a great setup that he's got here. I'm not too like, for me, I'm a big video editor, right? I do a lot of editing on my YouTube channel, and I get Marcus and a lot of people that ask me, how do you do all these edits? Mm-hmm. And then when I see this type of stuff, I'm like, dude, I'm a freaking rookie at it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know anything about it. I still use iMovie. I don't use the products, the expensive platforms. Mm-hmm. What is it? 360 or Premiere Pro, something like that.
Resolve. I use DaVinci Resolve mainly for editing.
Yeah, I stick with iMovie because it's simple. It's not complicated. But if you do have any kind of idea or business and you want to kind of bring out here and show my boy Alex here some love, and help him, have him help you in getting your business out there, I definitely would reach out to him as well. This is a great experience so far. I was nervous coming here because I've never done this before.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, having a camera, like 7 or 8 cameras. Right. And then talking to somebody next to me, and then me and Marcus go live all the time, but it's always like he's at his house, I'm at my house. Right? So it's easy. It's like, whatever. If I want to get away, I get away. Here is you're just next to each other. So I thought I was a little more nervous coming in here. But I think that it feels comfortable. You don't feel like, he's made us feel comfortable because he hasn't like forced us or said, hey, we got 30 minutes. Let's go.
The first 5 seconds, I was offered ice for my Red Bull, guys. I mean, the hospitality here is absolutely incredible. So I guess I get to say this. Look at the link below, guys. The link below is going to have the name of this business, where we're at, and how you can get involved and how you can get your company out into the community. This is a really, really awesome setup. I'll be honest. I don't know if there's too many businesses like this in the Rio Grande Valley, but I definitely want to say one thing. You definitely want to get started here with our buddy. So get yourself, acquainted with this business. Get your name out there and figure out how you can sit at this very table here and understand what it means to sit behind these cameras and what it can potentially do for your business as well.
Yeah, I think we're going to be back. I'll get with you on it. I'm going to see if I can do you have another mic? A fourth mic?
Yes, I have a fourth one.
So I'm going to see if I can bring Louie and Albert out here.
That'd be good.
And we'll have a conversation, a different conversation. It won't be so much about the Ragnarok, but just life in general, fishing in general, and things like that. I think it'll be fun. And
I do got to throw this one thing, guys, and I want to leave all the viewers with one thing. And there was a big conversation today, so I'm going to leave y'all with a question. It's only 3 words. Why not you? Well, it's because I want to enter the tournament, but I've never been in a tournament. Why not you? Well, it's because I'm not really comfortable using these lures yet, and I've been a bait. Why not you? Well, it's because, man, my kid, I want them to get involved. I don't know how to. Why not you to get them out there and start practicing how to, catch that catfish? Why not you? We are not professionals in this game. Google says it all the time. We're just guys out there in the water with a GoPro on our head, and that's the only difference between us and anybody else. So why not you? If intimidation is the factor, get it out of there. Contact us. Let's go fishing together. I know we've had many messages coming in. We've fished with many, many of our subscribers. So why not you?
Right. Yeah, I have people hit me up all the time. They want to go fishing and things like that, and I'm always down if you're down. But if you say, "Hey, let's meet up at this time here," and you don't show up, I probably won't hit you up again. I didn't show up today with Marcus.
He ghosted me.
Marcus and Albert were fishing today in the morning. Good thing I didn't go. They did kind of horrible in the morning. But the reason I didn't go too was because I was shooting lures all night, and I've been putting all my time and energy into the lures, guys. In that, my personal life has been kind of put to the side a little bit. It's affected me in that sense, but I do it because I enjoy pushing the product out, the lures out, and I know that people are waiting for them. So I'm doing my best to get them out there. Whatever happens in my personal life is my business, but I want to make sure at the end of the day, you guys get the lures you guys are expecting, and also that are going to work for you. And what else? What I was going to say? I was going to say something else. I don't know. But other than that, make sure you subscribe. I'll put all the information for Alex in the bottom here, all the sponsorships, everybody's information under the video description. And make sure you check them out. And again, if you guys are interested in donating, or not donating, sponsoring the tournament, reach out to us at SAFFishing/YouTuber or Kayak Los Cico, and we'll get it going. Fuck it, whatever.
That's right, guys. So my name is Marcus with Kayak Los Cico. This is Hugo with Saltwater Elite Fishing, guys. Here on our very first podcast, get yourself signed up for the Saltwater Elite Fishing Tournament, June 15, 2024. Till next time, we'll see ya.
Damn, that was a good show.